I'm your USP Coach, and today I want to talk to you about vulnerabilities and how, whether or not they make you powerful. So, I read this book, mm, Speak to a Fortune by Arfin Khan, and in the chapter 2, the author makes this statement that vulnerabilities are what make you powerful. That was a very intriguing statement for me because from the literal meaning of the word vulnerabilities, um, I thought vulnerabilities were what made you weaker, not powerful. So, as I read along, the author justified or illustrated this statement with a couple of examples, and I was able to relate to a couple of examples from my own life. And I would like to share with you those two reasons and those two instances from my life, which you know demonstrated that vulnerabilities can actually be powerful. My first vulnerability was that I wanted to study in a premier institute for engineering. But unfortunately, due to the low scores that I had got in my 12th grade and in my engineering entrance exam conducted by the state, I was not able to get the adequate cutoff that was needed to gain entry into into any one of the premier uh, engineering colleges. Um, so I as I was going through as I was going through the admission process and all that, um, I was going through the same kind of dilemma whether to study engineering or choose a different field if I was not getting the admission to the right college of my choice. So I was thinking about this, and my mind started giving me some inputs, like you know saying you're not good enough, you won't get any admission to any good engineering college and stuff like that. So my vulnerability was that I did not know what to do at that time. uh, but uh, but based on the conversation that my mind was having with me, it strengthened my resolve to make the best out of the available opportunities. So, given the fact that I was not going to get admission to a premier engineering college, I thought what was the next best option available to me. And that is when I thought, okay, why not turn this around and think about it the other way? It is a fact that I'm not going to get admitted to the uh, top grade tier 1 engineering college. uh, so why not make the best out of what is available to me among the available choices? So what I did was I went through the list of colleges. I inquired about all those colleges, and I got some enough information to make an informed decision. Now, remember, I was just a kid of 18 years old, just a kid, uh, without any worldly knowledge, uh, without wise advice from people. Uh, I would have been, uh, you know, I would have been lost totally. But the kind of conversations that my mind was having with me actually made me think for myself, made me take stock of the reality, and uh, want to do what is best for me given the available choices. And that was a very powerful choice that I made that day. So when I went into the counseling hall, met with the counselor. I told him I want admission into this college in this branch of engineering. If you're giving me that, I will take that up. Otherwise, I don't want to study engineering. So when I made that statement, the counselor was initially surprised, but then he was also pleased that I was clear about what I wanted. So what started off as a vulnerability actually ended up being a position of power. So a vulnerability, as per the dictionary, means a physical or emotional state that puts you at a disadvantage or danger. Like, say for example, you're venturing out in the middle of the night and you are in an area. Let's assume that you are in an area where you are not supposed to be, and you're being approached by people who are meant to harm you when you are alone, right? So that is a vulnerable position. That's a literal meaning of the word. But then the contextual meaning of the word vulnerability could be different based on the context. So in the case of my seeking out college admission as a kid, um, that was a real life-changing experience for me. The second vulnerable moment that I could relate to was when I was much older, in my early 40s, and I was, I had been recently married, not even in my 40s, I was just about 37 or 38 years old, just married newly. Just 4 or 5 months into marriage, I realized that nothing was working, and I was waking up every day asking this simple question: do I want to stay married, or do I want to call quits on this marriage? So the choices available to me were stay married, be the socially responsible guy, or be stigmatized by society as a divorcee. So this was what was going on in my mind, and you know the vulnerability was that I was afraid to choose the second option, although I was feeling miserable staying married to this person. You know, um, so it was a very very difficult uh, choice for me to make because I did not want to live with the social stigma of being a divorcee. So I was trying to weigh between these two things, right? Which would have been uh, a wiser option: to stay married for the rest of your life, although living a miserable life, or be a divorcee, live with the stigma of being a divorcee. So, so my mind was, telling me, you you deserve, uh, you you should, you deserve this life. You should stay married. Constantly kept telling me that. Uh, the little voice in my mind kept saying that, you know, you should not be a divorcee. People will spite you. People will laugh at you. You will be, um, you will be treated badly. Do you want all that? So this was what was going on in my mind. And the other choice that I had was to obviously, walk out of a marriage that was not good for me. It was miserable. It was making my life miserable. So I kept thinking about it, and and little by little, it started dawning on me that this was my life. It was not for anyone else to live this life. So it was for me to make that decision, whether to stay married or call it quits. So when I had that clarity, I was able to challenge the mind. No, I don't. You know, what you are telling me is wrong. What I believe is that if I have to live my life without being miserable for the rest of my life, I needed to apply for divorce. So that clarity emerged from a dilemma situation, right? I was in a dilemma, mental dilemma of whether to stay married or apply for a divorce. So the conversations that my mind had with me actually made me think contrary to what my mind was suggesting. And so I was able to convert that vulnerability into a position of power and strength and will. So I was able to, so going back to that book where I read this, so I was able to uh, get the meaning of that sentence. Vulnerabilities are what make you powerful. So I now believe that vulnerabilities are what makes us powerful. So has your vulnerability made you powerful? If so, please comment in the comment section. Please do subscribe to my channel. I will meet you again in another video. Thank you for listening. Take care.